such a time as this.
And welcome back to For Such a Time as This. I am your host, Pastor James Pittman. For Such a Time as This is a ministry of New Hope Community Church in Palatine, Illinois, in the northwest suburbs of Chicago. And what we're going to try to do every week is to go over the sermon preached in church. And so this week, it was Ephesians 5, 1 through 16, Imitators of God. Imitators of God, the main theme, those who are truly God's children strive to be like Him. And the four main points: God's children strive for sexual purity. God's children can overcome sexual immorality. God's children reject and expose sin with truth. And last but certainly not least, God's children are to use our time wisely. But here's where I want to focus on. Verse 11. This would be the third point. The third point here was God's children reject and expose sin with truth. So let us go to verse 11 here. Take no part in the unfruitful work of darkness, but instead expose them. Instead expose them. Let's read again. Take no part in the unfruitful works of darkness, but instead expose them. For it is shameful even to speak of the things that they do in secret. But when anything is exposed by the light, it becomes visible. For anything that becomes visible is light. Here's why I want to highlight those verses. Imitators of God, walk in love, be imitators of God. And under that theme, the subheading of this concept of exposing the works of darkness. Don't participate, but expose. That's not easy. Yes, I think it should be grace. Yes, it should be love. Yes, it should be mercy. But any ministry, any pastor, any elder, any preacher who is not actively working against exposing those things of darkness, you have to question whether or not they are truly from God. There is not a person in the scriptures that is written about at any length that did not wrestle, did not fight against evil people, wrong doctrine. It's simply not there. From the very beginning in the Garden of Eden, we see a cosmic battle. Did God really say? Adam and Eve were swept up in it. So was all of their children afterwards. And we are in a battle. Since the garden and to the day you close your eyes on this earth, you're going to be in a spiritual battle. All Christians, when it says Christians are born again, you were born on the battlefield. And any Christian minister who does not recognize he or she was born on the battlefield in the midst of a spiritual struggle and battle, I question whether or not you understand the very nature of your salvation. We were saved from the wrath to come. And I always get this. Sometimes I confuse people. Who are you saved from? Who or what does Jesus save you from? Because I only have a short amount of time. Jesus literally saved you from himself. The wrath to come is the wrath of God. He is the wrath of God, the seventh trumpet, the seventh seal, the seventh bowl of wrath. He is. He saves you. He literally saves you from himself. And so there's a cosmic battle that the wrath of God is going to come against all ungodliness that Satan his angels, sin, and all those who reject him. Wrath is coming with his angels, the Lord of hosts. And if you are not engaged, if you don't recognize you are engaged in a battle, then I question whether or not you understand the very nature of your salvation. With that said, how can a pastor, a preacher, or anyone who embraces the gospel reject the notion of exposing evil? That's why you were saved. To battle against evil, to expose evil, to preach lovingly as you can the wrath of God that comes. And only when you understand that Jesus Christ is coming back, and when he comes back, he will not be a suffering servant, he will be the conquering king. Only when you accept that will the cross of Christ even make sense to you. Accept Jesus, he's your Savior. And many people sitting there scratching their heads. Save me from what? It's the battle. It's the exposing of evil. It is walking in love, exposing of evil, shedding light on darkness. That is why you were saved. Read Ephesians 5. Any questions? Let me know. All sermons from New Hope Community Church can be found on our Facebook page, which I will put in the description. Thank you, and God bless. Go expose some evil and shed some light on darkness.
For such a time as this,